Hi guys, welcome to the new Citroen C4 Cactus. This is probably one of the most interesting SUVs in the class at the moment. It is based on the C4, but as you can see, it's very different to the normal C4. It looks like a bit of a concept car in my opinion. It's definitely very different to anything else. The first thing you'll probably notice are these plastic panels on the sides. It's called air bump technology. And basically you can have minor bumps and scrapes and not have any panel damage. This is probably well suited for regions like Italy and France where parking is very tight. But in Australia it's probably not so useful, but still, shopping trolleys and things, you're not going to hit any of the paintwork before you hit these plastic panels. It makes it perfect as an urban vehicle. You can get two different versions of the Cactus, a petrol version with a manual transmission and the diesel version with an automatic or an automated manual transmission, which is what we've got here. It's only 68 kilowatts and 230 newton meters, so this isn't the fastest SUV in the class, but that's not what this is about. This is about back to basics motoring. Let's have a look at the interior. So like the exterior, the interior is just very unique and very different to anything that you've probably seen in the market. You've got this saddlebag style glove box, more handles on the side there that match the sort of saddlebag theme. And then this completely unique center console section. Just start it up. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of a Tesla, this car. It's not similar to a Tesla, but it just reminds me of Tesla's simplicity. You hear about companies banging on about their fully digital instrument cluster. Well, there's a fully digital instrument cluster right there. It's very simple, it tells you what you need to know, but it leaves plenty of room for visibility. It also matches the sort of Peugeot Citroen touchscreen. It's quite a good system, so if you're listening to music, you can just jump to the climate settings there, or you can just use any of the buttons. But it's well packaged. It's got sat-nav, digital radio, rear-view camera. It's definitely good value for the price of this car. I love these seats. They're like big bench seats out of your family room. They're really comfortable, so you can see how wide they are. But yeah, really comfortable seats. You could just sit in here all day basically and not feel like you're in a car. Citroen have been known to be quirky, and yeah, it's the same with this car. They've definitely brought back some of their heritage with this car, and not just in the design. So this is actually the handbrake. It looks like the gear lever. When I first got in, I was using this to try and get the gears to come up, but that's just the handbrake. Then you have a basic forward and back for reverse, and then just neutral. How simple is that? It's not a luxury car in here, but it's so you've got some scratchy plastics on the doors and around the top of the dash. Most of this is all plastic too, but you don't really criticize it because it's just such a humble car. And the price, you got to think of the price point of this car too, which is it's about 30 grand for this model, and this is the top model. So you're getting good value for your money anyway. It's practical as well, so you've got miles of headroom. There's even a step here for really tall people. If you're touching that, you're doing pretty good. You're pretty tall. But yeah, plenty of room down here, lots of room to move your knees and things. It doesn't feel cluttered at all. We'll check out the back seat. So in the back, it's you've got these perched up rear seats to give you better visibility. But yeah, it's got that same sort of bench style from the front. Very comfortable, plenty of headroom, although it's not quite as much headroom as there is in the front. And check out these side windows. They're like pop-out side windows. They don't actually wind down. And you think, well, that's useless. But then, when do you ever wind down the rear windows? It's only normally the kids, and in that case, you don't want the kids to wind down the rear windows. So it's a decent safety initiative. There's massive cup holders in the doors, and then these cool little handles. Let's take it for a drive and see how it goes. So basically you have to think about this car as it only comes with a manual gearbox. But to be nice to those who can only drive automatics, Citroen has come up with this. It's it's a manual gearbox inside, but it's got robotics to help do the clutch work for you. But basically it works like an automatic. You just hit D, apply some throttle, and you'll feel the clutch grabbing like in a manual car. The reason Citroen has gone for this gearbox is cost, because it doesn't have the complexities of a torque converter automatic, but also it's much lighter. So this car only weighs 1,029 kilos. It only has 68 kilowatts, but the 230 Newton meters does come in handy. It gives a good low down urge, especially going up hills and things like that. Citroen claims 0 to 100 in about 11 seconds, which is very similar to the dual cab utes that are out at the moment, the diesel utes, and vehicles like the Toyota Fortuner and Mitsubishi Pajero Sport. So it's not too bad. It's not going to blow your socks off, but it'll certainly get you where you need to go. So as you can probably tell, the automatic gearbox is pretty much like an automatic. There's been a lot of criticism about the gearbox. It is jerky. I mean, I'm not going to try and sugarcoat it here. It would be more relaxing and smoother if they fit a normal automatic in here. But in saying that, I actually think that this gearbox, or with a normal automatic gearbox, the car would be less interesting. I know that's a pretty silly thing to say, but it does actually add character to the car. And it makes you feel like you're driving the car. It makes the human feel like an integral part of the driving, which is good, because it's refreshing in a world of, you know, very conservative SUVs that are out at the moment, which, let's face it, are all pretty much the same. I'll just slow down and show you what I mean by the gearbox clutch. So if you do floor it, so you can probably tell by the movement of the camera, it's my head's moving back and forth. So it's taking a good second to change gear, but in that sense, it's no less comfortable than a manual transmission. So for the passengers, they're going to feel like they're just in a manual car. It's just the driver that really notices. You can make it a bit smoother by lifting your foot off the throttle with each gear change, once you get used to the engine's characteristics and start to know when it changes gears. But it's not terrible. When you're driving just smoothly and just calmly like this, you don't even really notice the difference between a normal automatic. And it is pretty intelligent in terms of changing down gears. So when you come up to a sharp corner like this, it'll change down for you, and it's ready to pick up in a lower gear without you even noticing. In that sense, it is actually a step ahead of some traditional automatics. The handling is nice. It's not really about outright, you know, cornering speed in this car. It's traditional Citroen, so it's all about comfort, and it is very comfortable. The suspension just glides over bumps. It's definitely the most comfortable SUV in this class. It's one of those cars where you can you get out feeling more relaxed than when you got in. So if you've had a long hard day's work, get in and go for a drive with this. I'm sure when you get out, you'll feel quite relaxed when you get home. So on first impressions, it's a very interesting car. I really like it. It just brings you back to the basics in terms of motoring and driving. I love the unique design of everything too, and I really like the soft, comfortable suspension. I also like the fact that it's just so humble. It's not trying to be anything else. It's got its own direction, and it's just being that. It's not trying to follow all the other SUVs out there, which, as I said, are pretty much identical these days. This is completely different. It's gone a different way, and it's done well at what it's trying to do. We will be putting together a more in-depth review on the website as usual, and we'll cover more of the details. We'll also do our usual performance test video. Until then, thanks for watching.